Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we are doing stage 1 of the garden revamp. So this is all changing, and I thought no better time than today than to take out some of these plants, move some of these beds and start the rejig, because we are going to completely redesign all of this space, and I cannot wait to bring you along with me. Please excuse the absolute state of the tiny garden at the minute. Everything is so overgrown. I definitely haven't been out here enough pruning things. The weather has been horrendous. So I'm so glad, because the rain is holding off. We were actually scheduled to have rain all weekend, but it literally rained for 3 days straight. Like, there was not even a gap in the weather. So that's why I'm out here today, because I found a break in the weather and I cannot wait to actually get my hands into the soil, rejig the space a bit. I think when we move the bed in the back, it'll actually make a little bit more space for the ginormous patio pan that we have growing just behind me. I just wanted to show you a little bit closer up some of the issues I've kind of had this year with my raised beds. So you can see I've reinforced this raised bed at the bottom, and it's also reinforced inside. So it's obviously, there's a lot of weakness here in the kind of the way I've done it. So I don't think it will last another season, so I will completely take out that middle bed. But that's for another video, because we need to go behind this whole space and get into the cucumber at the back. That also reminds me, I never imagined this bed to get as tall as it was. My main goal for this year was to make sure everything that in this bed was no taller than kind of like knee height, so that obviously the bed at the back could get the most sunlight, and also I could actually bring the camera in and show you around everywhere. But like, as you can see, everything has completely overgrown. I didn't stick to my plan at all, and everything is nearly as tall as me. Like, everything in there is definitely a good 4 foot tall. So yeah, didn't stick to my plan, but maybe next year it'll be completely different, because I won't have this like bed going kind of this way. I'll have two going the opposite way. And I feel like the only reason I put this bed here was because I never imagined that I would have like all of these other raised beds in the garden. I only thought I was going to have one and grow a few bits in it. And this space here gets the most sun all day, literally from about 7 o'clock in the morning till about 7, 8 at night. Like, it gets full sun all day. So I was like, well, if I'm growing stuff, then it needs to have like obviously the best sun. But through doing the garden the last 2 years now, I have learned that shady spots are really beneficial, as well as really, really sunny spots. So yeah, great tip for anybody that's starting out. The shady spots, you can still grow stuff, particularly if you get a very hot summer. Shady spots for lettuce is absolutely perfect. One of the questions I get asked all the time about the tiny garden is, how big is it? So how big is the growing space that you actually have? So I call this area here my main growing space. So when I refer to my main growing space, I'm talking about this kind of square area that's here. And it has 5 raised beds in it at the minute. And obviously they're all going to be coming out. But the main area here is just over 8 meters squared. So that's kind of wall to wall. So obviously the growing area is slightly smaller, because I've accounted for like my walkways and things like that. It's amazing really what you can grow in a tiny space. But yeah, take my advice and don't grow massive plants like what I did. We are going to do something completely different next year, but come along with me and we are going to rejig the small bed that's behind all of this. You can't even see it right now. We're going to lift and shift and move it around. So this is the bed that we are going to take out today. So I'll bring you in a little bit closer. I made this last year, and it's literally 2 decking boards high, and then I just screwed it all together. The main length that's along here, this piece, is not actually cut to size. It's the size it came, so which made it so much easier. I think it's just about 2.1 meters long, and I think that's like what, 1 or 2 foot wide. And I'm hoping to be able to just lift this whole thing up and over and then refill it. Like, obviously I'm going to have to take out all the soil and the plants, but there's not really a lot happening in here. I think there's 1 cucumber left on this plant here, and it's pretty much not going to do much. It's really cold. There's no major flowers coming on it. and the temperatures have dropped. Obviously you can tell I'm wearing a jumper today, so obviously the temperatures have dropped, and I think nighttime temperatures now are about 8 degrees, which is fairly cold. So yeah, not much really happening on that cucumber front. I have 2 green tomatoes left on my Costalito. I actually had some great tips from you guys on the green tomato. Obviously I had the issue with the blight, so I had about 3 or 4 kilos of green tomatoes, and I didn't know what to do with them other than make green chutney or fry them up and try them as green fried tomatoes. But you guys said if you just leave them in the house, they will actually turn red, and actually half of the batch that I had not put into green chutney, more or less all of them turned green. So I'm going to take off those Costalito. There's only 2 left, and I'm going to bring them inside. I did actually get a whopper of a Costalito that did turn red, but I ate it before I could show you. But I can promise you it was delicious, and it looked amazing, and it had all of like the cool markings and structure on them. It was about like that big. But it's no use me telling you that because I don't have it anymore to actually show you, but it was amazing. I roasted it up and it was just to die for. So definitely going to grow those again. They actually produce fairly quickly considering that they are like a larger type tomato. They kind of remind me of a beefsteak a little bit, but they were unbelievably quick at producing considering like I only sowed those in May, and I sowed the cherries in the March, so it caught up quite quickly and we got red fruit from it. So yeah, enough about this. I'm going to go in, I'm going to take everything out from here, and we're going to start rechanging everything.
Are turning brown, red and yellow, soon they'll be falling down. Now, I'm not ready, not just yet. Autumn comes too soon. Autumn comes too soon. The light that flickers will blow away the sight, and all that blossomed will wither away and die. Not now, I'm not ready, not just yet.
It looks lovely. I am so happy with it. And I think it looks even better because I had a few bits and bobs to put in it. So it's like almost like it's always been there, even though we all know it hasn't. So I have some chard followed by a couple of leeks. Then I have some little gem, some Lola Rosso that was left over that I wasn't able to plant it out into the raised bed round the corner, another row of leeks, and then I have some chard here which has seen better days, but I think it might come back, and I plan to use this chard here as kind of sort of salady leaves, so hopefully it bounces back. It does look a little bit like it's been in the container for too long and needed potting up, but overall I'm really happy. And then I had a little bit of a space here. Now I did have some cabbage seedlings to put in, but I thought I might as well go in and sow something new. So in here, not that you can see anything, but in there is some land cress. So hopefully that should crop up in the next couple of days. So I do need to water that in before I finish today. So there you have it, my new raised bed vegetable patch in the garden. So repurposed an old raised bed, reused the soil, popped in some new plants, and I'm really happy with it. So this is going to form part of my mini series about the tiny garden revamp. And basically I'm just going to show you guys how simple it is to start your own raised vegetable garden in an urban setting, but you can apply these principles to anywhere that you want to start your garden. If you have either concrete, grass, a mud patch, an allotment, follow along, subscribe to the channel, and we'll start our journey to growing our own vegetables together. I'm going to leave it there for today. Thank you for hanging out with me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.